Good day, everyone. Good day, Sir Marco. My name is Alisa Emmanuel Cruz from Besad English 3A. So for today, I'll be telling you the first three creation myth stories of Polynesian mythology. And these are the Tahiti, New Zealand, and Tonga. There are numerous myths creation are told in Tahiti, and the most famous ethnographer is Theodora Henry, 1847 to 1915, published most of the known ones in her famous book, Ancient Tahiti, which is first showed up in 1928. So this is the story. Taura is the creator of all. He doesn't have a mother and father, and he lived inside a shell, a type of egg that floated in an endless void. There's no sky, land, sun, moon, and stars that time. Finally, Taura is out on his Urmia, his shell, and he shouted, "Who is there?" But no one answered. And he decided to go back inside his shell, where he left again for thousands or years of time. Eventually, he came out from his shell and began the act of creation. From one half of his shell, he made the stratum rock, earth, and sand. And the other half of his shell, he made the dome of the sky. But the two halves were still closed, and there was darkness all around. In the darkness, he created the lesser gods. He breathed life into the foundation, and it became husband, called Tumunoi. Then stratum rock is the wife, called Papa. Now, he commanded them that they are going to be a mate. From their union came in forth other forms of rock and earth. He called Tui to have an assistance. The next move of Tara, he shook off some of his feathers and fell them in the earth, where they became trees, plants, and other forms of vegetation. However, the earth and sky were still confined within the closeness of Tara's shell. Then what he did was, he separated the earth and formed a pillar to hold up the sky, so that Atea, or space, could be extended because the land became so hard. The Atea, or space, expanded until there were 10 skies and heavens. In the end, the rain appeared everywhere, sea and earth life increased rapidly. When Taurus saw all the happenings, he was happy and pleased, and he called it Hawaii. It means the birthplace of God, birthplace of life, and birthplace of human. Taura and Tu proclaimed together to make humans. First, they make Ti, the first man from the red earth, and he married the beautiful goddess named Hina. Their children became the high royal families of Tahiti. Ari, the only ones who can only wear the unique symbols of royalty, the red feathered girdle, called the Maroura, and the long feathered capes. The Manahun, or common people, were simply conjured into being by Ti and Hina. And when these Manahun intermarried with the royal Rii families, a middle class or gentry, or Ra'atira, was formed. The Ra'atira settled in the Great Bays, while the commoners settled along the seashore, leading up to the lands of the nobility. When Ta'aroa saw all of them, he became happy and approved all of those creations. The second story is New Zealand. Maori have many stories relating to the creation of earth, people, and gods. An important one is the story of Rangi, the Sky Father, and Papa, the Earth Mother. Rangi and Papa lay together in a tight embrace. They held each other so tightly that no light could get through and the world was in darkness. Rangi and Papa had many children who lived between them. However, the most important ones were Tawiri, winds and storm, Tangaroa, sea and fish, Rongo, sweet potato and food plants, Haumia, fern root and wild plants, 2. Pierceman, and 10. Forest and birds. The children wondered what light was like, and they were tired living in the darkness, confined between their parents. Thane, the god of the forest, decided that they should split their parents apart so the sky would be above them and the earth beneath their feet. After all his brothers were unable to separate their parents, Thane put his head to the ground and used his feet to kick away his father Rangi. With Rangi and Papa separated, and they came the world of light, and humans flourished on the earth. However, Rangi still mourns the loss of Papa and drops tears which become dew, and Papa's sights go up to the sky, which become mist or rain. Eventually, the children had to turn Earth Mother over so she and Rangi would no longer be forced to gaze upon each other and endure the endless grief. Tawiri, the gods of winds, storm declared a war on his brother for being so wicked and cruel. He warred against them with his fierce winds and hurricanes, with their threatening lightning and thunderstorm. Many forests were destroyed and dry land began pop up. Waters collect together in such abundance that huge waves emerge. In the end, Tawiri defeated all of his brothers except Tutu, who stood tall, brave, and through his bravery, all of the creation is saved. Then Thane took it upon himself to increase the light in the world. God Tongo-Tango, or intensely dark, created the stars, moon, and finally the sun. He also separated the sun and the moon and gave space by creating the day and the night. Thane was also responsible for the creation of humans. Some myths merely state that the first man, Tiki, was made by Thane in Hawaii, and that the first woman, Luwahinen, was made to be his wife. Others say that Thane sought a wife for Tiki and finally went to a sandy beach where he mixed mud and sand and shaped it into the form of a woman. He breathed into her mouth and poured his procreative powers over her, and she became a living woman. The first human couple then multiplied and produced numerous progeny that spread across the islands of the sea. The last story is Tonga. Limu, a seaweed, and Kele is a vase or receptacle, were found together in the ocean, floating until they reached Pulotu, or the underworld, where they gave birth to Tona Futuna, a large female metallic stone. After that, Tona Futuna stirred and gave a loud sound like a thunderbolt across the sky. She cracked open, and out fell a set of twins. The male named Piki, and the female is Kele. Once again, Tona Futuna trembled and groaned and gave birth to the 3 sets of twins. The male named Atugaki, and the female Maimoa Alagona. Second twins is Tonu Uta, and the female is Tonutai. The third and last twins is Lupe, which is a dove, and Tukuhali is a sea turtle or snake. The first set of twins cohabited and gave birth to a son named Taufulifunua and a daughter named Havealolofunua. And the next two sets of twins each gave birth to only daughters, named Velilahi, and the next one is Velesi. The last pair, Lupt or Lupe, and Tukuhali had no children. Taufulifunua and Havealolofunua, children of the first couple, cohabited and gave birth to a son, named Hikoleo. The two younger girls, Velelahi and Velesi, saw that they did not have a husband, so they agreed to become the wives of Taufulifunua. They brought forth sons where they named Tagaloa and Maui. The three grandsons were Hikoleo, Tagaloa, and Maui decided to split up the world between. Polotu, or the underworld, will be going to accept by Hikoleo. The sky is for Tagaloa, and lastly Maui received the earth. But the powers of Hikoleo widespread over the earth as well as his area in Polotu. What they did, the three of them commanded Tukuhali to live in the sea and Lup or Lupe in the land. So this is the origin of the gods. Tagaloa, the god of sky, decided to create the land because he was tired seeing the water when he looked down from his house in heaven. Now, he informed his son, Tagaloa Tufunga, to throw his pair wood chips down to earth. Eventually, Tagaloa sent his pet bird, Tagaloa Atulongolongo, to the earth if he could find an island. Finally, on the third try, the bird snooped an island being formed. It was formed because of the wood chips. Once again, Tagaloa Atulongolongo flew through the sky with a seed in his beak. It accidentally dropped it on the island of Ata, where it grew into a creeping vine. The bird returned once again and found out that the vine had rotted and there was a fat, juicy worm curled up inside. The bird pecked it in two, and from the two portions emerged the first two men of Tonga, named Kohai and Koao. A morsel of the worm from the bird's beak fell off, and it grew into a third man, named Momo. Seeing that they were without partners, the god Maui went to Polotu, where he found wives for them, and the three couples became the ancestors of the Tongan people.